Welcome to the Suburbs with Andy and Greg. This is Season 2, Episode 39. Enjoy. Have you ever tried to talk your way out of a ticket? I mean, we had that in a podcast. You nicely spoke with a random officer.
In Zionsville. And I'm not quite sure I talked myself out of it, but I talked my way through the scenario to not be given a ticket.
But you never got heated.
No. I mean, I was speeding in Zionsville. I was breaking the law.
Breaking the law, breaking the law.
Just like the song says.
Did Pat Boone sing that?
You know, he did a heavy metal album.
Yes, I do know. That's why I asked.
He might have.
His fans were up in arms.
It's an interesting album.
The thing I love the most about that album is the cover.
That's the worst part. I'd take the music over the cover.
You know what I love the most about the cover?
Nothing.
The earring. It's amazingly pathetic and beautiful all at the same time.
I get the concept, the idea. You know, artists always try to do something to reinvent. It's actually an interesting record because it's all kind of big band arrangements.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't heard it.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, okay.
It's comical, but palatable.
Palatable?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the cover's got to go.
Okay, so for those of you who are listening, Pat Boone covered, it wasn't Iron Maiden. Who was it?
Judas Priest.
Yeah, Judas Priest.
And others.
Oh, I thought it was just Judas Priest.
It was a collection of heavy metal songs.
What was the name of it? It was...
In a Metal Mood.
Yeah.
That's not the mood it really necessarily put me in. More of an inquisitive mood.
Oh, inquisitive is polite. That's just not right. And so on the cover, he's in a leather jacket with, I don't think he has a shirt on.
I don't think so.
And he's got like this dangling earring. There was a guy that I worked with who was actually a really nice guy and funny that went on stage in all leather. And he was bald, very intimidating guy. And he just looked mad and mean at the crowd. You could hear a pin drop. It's totally silent. And then he whips out a fan and starts fanning his face and has this gay voice, and the crowd loses it. He goes from there.
That's the way he starts a show.
Like driving gloves. My stepmom's, he borrowed them.
Yeah.
All black leather, chaps and everything.
In a metal mood.
From an audio engineering perspective, did you like the idea that he took the metal in a different direction with the arrangements, or was it bah?
I would deem it to be interesting.
Just because of the concept?
Yeah, the concept. Let's see. Stairway to Heaven, Crazy Train, The Wind Cries Mary, Paradise City, Holy Diver, Enter Sandman.
Pat Boone? Which Zeppelin song did he cover? Stairway to Heaven?
Yeah. You've Got Another Thing Coming, Smoke on the Water. It's a Long Way to the Top. I should make a playlist of those songs. Those are all good songs.
I saw Stanley Jordan do Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that was fantastic.
So that was one of those BS our way in. We're the comics. You know, the weird part of that show, so it was at a 900-seat theater, pretty intimate show. They had a buffet by the stage.
Buffet by the stage. Oh, sort of like beef and boards.
More like veggie fruit tray, Costco fruit tray.
Would people go during the show and get food? Or,
Yes.
Oh, they wouldn't take it away?
Yeah.
Oh, they left it up?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's weird.
It is weird. Who's the opening act? The Carrots?
Hey, Stanley, tell them they're out of shrimp. Stanley Jordan, good night.
Picture in your mind. There was a piece of property near the art museum. There were 2 ponds. It was near the river. Just across the river, like literally, the other side of the river is Butler University.
Right.
So there's this big piece of property, and it was owned by monks, and there was a monastery there. And the monks decided to sell their property. I don't know. They probably don't do that in China or where other monks are.
I think I did some work for those monks.
I know. It was really monks.
I've totally forgotten about that, but I think I used to make cassettes or something for them.
Chants.
Or something.
Pat Boone music to chant by.
And you just kind of blew my mind there for a second. Pause here while I process this. And they were all dressed with their little...
They had monk outfits.
Albs and ropes and shit.
John Tesh did a song for them.
Oh, I think it's Hey Hey with the Monkeys. I blew up your story. I'm sorry.
The ponds were clear and full of big fish, but the water was so clear, one of the ponds, the fire department sunk a truck and a car in the deepest part of the pond, and they would do water rescue training at that pond. And you could see it because the water was so clear. You could see them down there on the bottom. So you would go in, you would check in with this creepy looking dude in a robe. And I mean, creepy looking dude.
I know this dude.
Do you?
Yeah.
They had this box by the front door, and there were envelopes like your mom used to put your lunch money in.
Or you're offering at church.
Right.
Your dollar.
Yeah, little, small, fold $1 into quarters. Then you had to sign a line with your name on it, but it was like $5. And so you put money in there, and then you could go fish on the lake. So Crystal DeHaan is married to this dude that started REI timeshare condos, but he dies, and she inherits millions and millions of dollars. She decides that her dog and pony show mansion, wherever it was not suitable. So she approaches the monks and buys the property off the monks. Meanwhile, all the Democrats in Indy are pissed because that should have been a city park. Why are they selling this to some multimillionaire and nobody has an opportunity to go spend the money, let the city buy it? And the city's like, we didn't even have that on our radar.
We got potholes to fill.
Yeah, we got this Meridian Street one that eats cones. She drained the ponds, rebuilt the ponds to her specs, and then built her mansion there.
She has a pond builder that's worked for her.
Yeah, she does, like Aquascape.
1-800-BUILD-POND.
Yeah, right. It's like a 41,000 square foot house. So she dies, and Restoration Hardware buys it, and it's their show home, and they've got a restaurant in there. It's a fine dining restaurant, and then all the furniture in the mansion is Restoration Hardware furniture. Chicago's got one. There are like 6 of them around the country.
It's a store?
Mansion, store, and restaurant. It's a transformer. And you can eat out on the patio and overlook the pond she created because the other pond wasn't good enough for her.
She pulled the truck and the car out while she was at it. Hey, there's a truck in my pond.
I don't know whether she pulled them out or just like buried them.
Can you still pay $5 to fish?
I doubt it. Do you think she wants some guy in a John boat floating around on the pond with dolphin fountains out back?
Using fishing structure.
That wouldn't fly.
So to speak. A client of ours at World Media Group was the Islamic Center, and we used to dub their chant tapes.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell if it was going forwards or backwards.
Right.
I mean, you just couldn't.
Satan could.
Well, I thought that was Allah.
He's the good guy.
He's the good guy.
Right. Know your comic books, man.
I'm not sure who his counterpart is.
I watched Aladdin, I know.
It's that big blue genie. Maybe that's him.
It was Robin Williams. They transitioned from cassettes to CDs, and I did their CDs.
Okay, well, we were doing their cassettes, high-speed dubbing.
Yeah.
It was total, factory work, because you had to master them in real time, then high-speed dupe them. You'd put the thing on the machine, you wouldn't know if it was forwards or backwards. I mean, that's the truth. It was just loaded heads or tails. Maybe they were chanting, Paul is dead.
Sometimes you feel terrible when somebody F's up. And sometimes you can't stop laughing. At WMG, there was a proofing guffaw.
Every day.
Okay, but there was one that is for the record books. I'll give you a hint.
I've probably blocked it out.
There was a faith-based organization. I can't remember the title. We'll just say it was Three Sisters, and it was all about peace, love, and goodwill. And then there was another title, and this is why they have job numbers. There was Three Sisters that was not faith-based.
The other Three Sisters. Okay. I do remember this.
And they didn't have clothes on. And the titles got swapped. And the church got the X-rated version.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up distributing them to the parishioners before looking to see if it was the right title because they had faith that it was the right title.
How could they mess this up? We gave them the master. They give us back the dubs. Oops.
Yeah, so the church got porn.
How do you unwind that one?
Very slowly and probably not with popcorn.
Have you rewind? Very slowly.
The thing about those tapes, though, is do you ever watch it more than once? Isn't that something where you go, yeah, I know this story now? I mean, it's only good one time.
The plot is secondary.
Well, it is secondary, but it's just like the newness is worn off after one. I can watch Elf twice during Christmas season and laugh as hard the first time as I did the second time as I did the 50th time.
But Debbie Does Dallas.
One time.
One and done.
I heard this woman say, ask yourself these 4 things in the morning. Who do you want to be today? What do you want to do today? How do you want to feel today? And what do you want to give today? And I thought, that's pretty sage advice. I like that.
So your mantra that you had there, which are all 4 very good talking points, did you ask that yellow shirt guy at the track those same questions when you were driving in the other day?
I know what he wanted to be that day. I'm well aware of what he wanted to be that day. He made it clear.
All 4 of those questions should have been asked to him in that moment. And maybe you would have had a better outcome.
I should have had a better outcome by remembering that that's my mantra in the morning. That's what I need to work on right there. That's the whole thing is a practice. Ask the monks.
Yeah, you almost were tased with your poor attitude to the yellow shirt because they have more power than the police at the motor speedway. The state police answer to them.
Yeah, they probably do. That sounds like going back to Elf, the park rangers.
Right.
Yeah, that yellow shirt. If he had Andy's red laser at the end of his index finger, I'd have been tased.
They're power hungry. I have a yellow shirt and I have no power.
You have that shirt?
No.
Oh.
But I have a yellow shirt. I should wear it to the track. Maybe I could exert some authority and tell people where they can and can't park or what they should and shouldn't do.
I was just trying to ask a question. I was not there for an argument. I'm not John Cleese.
No.
But I was just trying to ask him a question, and he wouldn't let me near enough to ask the question. He had a look on his face when I was 12. Between 12 and 16, I was pretty good at getting the look from my parents.
I'm still good at getting the look from my wife, so I get it.
And that guy, I did not deserve the look I got from that guy because I hadn't even said anything yet.
Shut you down.
This is the part I love the most, I think, about that encounter, is he sent people after me. And I actually thought when I came back to the car, it was a learning experience in retrospect.
Him or you?
For me, because I thought I'm going to get back to my 4Runner and the back window is going to be smashed out.
Oh, in blocks.
Yeah, right. And it wasn't. And I said, okay, I'm never going to let that happen again. I know how I want to be today. And it isn't this again.
Bitch spray painted on the side.
Right. Just, hey, wait a minute. I've got a silver badge. I think I can park inside the track. I think. So I wasn't saying I get to. I wasn't playing the entitlement card. It was, I think this badge lets me park in the track, doesn't it?
You pushed his buttons.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't even know the button was there. Push button to explode building.
As I was leaving the track, I always turned left to go under the track to head home. For some reason, this time, everybody had to go right. The yellow shirt was pointing right, and I'm pointing left, and he's shaking his head, and he keeps pointing right. So I went right, and then you turned around the cones and waved to the guys. I went past them.
Now, well, how is that different than my scenario? It's because you're Andy Simon.
I wasn't tased.
Yeah, I know you weren't. Is it the fair complexion?
Maybe, or the fact that I was driving at a high rate of speed.
Is that it?
And he was too busy telling everybody to turn right.
You were there at the Rolling Stones concert. What was the traffic like coming out of there?
Oh, my gosh. We stayed for the fireworks because it was 4th of July.
Yeah.
Felt like 2 hours to get out of the parking lot. Worse than leaving the race.
Oh, I'm sure it was. And the thing that's bad about it is, so like Deer Creek, major outdoor venue in Indianapolis, they improved the infrastructure, and what used to be days to get out of that place, it was like Woodstock trying to leave. Now they've improved it, and egress and ingress are pretty quick.
It used to be one road in and one road out.
Yeah, it sure did. Man, pack a lunch.
Or a dinner.
Yeah, right.
Or breakfast.
Who's got my will? We need to write a will. 5 days later. Have you ever seen an artist that you recorded at Deer Creek?
Aerosmith.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I saw Aerosmith and Poison and Def Leppard.
Okay.
That was a rockin' night.
That was a rockin' night.
Mellencamp.
Oh, yeah.
And the Bob and Tom All-Star Band.
Oh, sure.
I used to do a thing with them called the 4th of July Freedom Jam.
Yes.
Did that for only a couple, 3 years, but that was a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of the radio show on stage live, and then they had a headliner. And I got to mix those shows, which was kind of cool.
So have you ever been starstruck? I mean, you've worked with like Aerosmith and Mellencamp and, big name people.
I'm not sure I'd be starstruck per se, but I have really enjoyed working with some producers on the national level in my career. Don Gaiman, of course, course, the gentleman that produced the Mellencamp records. And I worked with Terry Brown, who produced Jimmy Reiser, who also produced probably the first 8 or 10 Rush albums. So that was a real big-time engineer to work with. The week we were recording with Jimmy, the song Died in Your Arms Tonight by the Cutting Crew went #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 the week we were recording, and Terry had recorded that record. So it was kind of like he got a phone call that, hey, the song just went #1 when we were in the studio.
I had Spotify on, and that came up yesterday. I just heard that song, and I thought, when was that? What year was that?
Probably 85-ish, something like that. One producer that I work with has various claims to fame in his career. We were hired to do the lead vocals for the songs that the Wright brothers performed in the movie Overboard. That's Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
Okay.
And there's several scenes where they're in a bar, and there's a bar band playing, and in the background, it's the Wright brothers from Indianapolis.
Wasn't Yacht Rock Review?
No, it was not.
That would have been a good tie-in, though, wouldn't it?
It would have.
Yeah.
So they had to get the vocals recorded for the songs in the movie. So Gary Paxton is the producer's name, and he brought the 2-inch tapes up from Nashville, and the guys from the Wright brothers are here in Indianapolis, and they came into the studio and recorded 3 or 4 songs that were used in the movie. And at the time...
Were they sailing-themed songs?
They were not.
Oh.
There was like Legs by ZZ Top and Unchained Medley and Go Jim Dandy. Were the songs
Jim Dandy.
Songs that they were playing in the background in a bar.
Oh, gotcha.
Gary Paxton, early in his career, was famously known for the songs Alley Oop and the Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
When he was at TRC producing the Overboard songs with the Wright brothers, he was famous for having an affair with Tammy Faye Baker.
Tammy Faye Baker? People aspire to have affairs with Tammy Faye Baker?
I'm not sure he aspired to, but he was a producer of her music.
She sang?
She sang. Oh,
what?
Yeah. They had a musical ministry, her and Jim.
Oh, okay.
Started out doing puppets.
What, did he have a Maybelline fetish or something? He needed to go skiing and they didn't have a slope around, so he thought, hey, look at those eyelashes.
Zee! So I guess since Jim had his indiscretion, she felt she was entitled to one as well. So she chose her producer, and it was Gary Paxton.
She wasn't just drawn to him because of the Monster Mash. Ooh, it's the guy who did Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash.
It was a mash.
I think I love you.
That was happening in his life when he was actually at the studio.
But was he getting booty calls from...
No, I don't think it was to that extent, but I think he was sort of in the National Enquirer at the time.
Oh, nice.
Another brush with greatness. As the credits go flying by at the end of Overboard, my name does appear.
Oh, no.
It's a recording engineer.
Now, every time I watch that movie, I'm going to think of Tammy Faye Baker.
Not me.
No, sorry.
She's much funnier. Or funnier looking. You know, we've talked in this episode off and on about several WMG stories. In my capacity of director of operations, I was over every department except sales and accounting, and shipping was under my purview. And went out into the warehouse one day, and some guy in shipping says to me, "Hey, does New Mexico have zip codes just like the United States?" How do you answer that?
I don't know, some smart-ass way. Only Old Mexico has no zip codes.
Apparently he thought it was part of Mexico.
Yeah, apparently. You think?
An honest question that deserved an honest answer.
Hey, Gringo, can I ask you a question about zip codes? What'd you say?
You're a idiot.
Here, come with me. I want to show you where the front door is.
Welcome to Team Cobra. You think about New Mexico as a state name.
Were they out of names at that point?
Just lazy.
No, I mean, think about it, really. They were granted statehood in 1912.
Sure.
So 47th state.
Near the end of the list.
Yeah. Did you ever have issues naming pets?
No, not really.
Oh, really? We've had difficulty naming pets.
All of our dogs, the names all came naturally.
What about Heather? Did you agree on Heather right away?
We did.
Okay. This house operates way differently than we do.
Very efficient.
We have to put names in a hat. We have 3 rounds. It's kind of like bumping at the 500.
It's a bubble day.
Yeah, it is. That's how Jeffrey was named. I think we covered this in a podcast. The kids were like, there is not a snowball's chance I'm calling that dog Jeffrey. Every cat that we've named, every dog that we've named, it's been bumping. So why weren't you the guy in charge of naming New Mexico?
Could have called it Heather.
You could have. I'm not sure that would have blended with the other states. I don't know. I just feel like Andy should have been in charge. You weren't around in 1912.
No, I was not.
So if you were in charge, what would you name New Mexico? Would it have been Taos?
Probably a city in New Mexico, right?
Yes. It's an artist community.
Could have been called Taos House. What's their zip code? Hi, this is Andy. If you enjoyed listening to our podcast, please be sure to subscribe and share. Remember, laughter is contagious. Help us spread it by telling a friend.